Hello again, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Game Pass Grab Bag, your weekly podcast reviewing games in the Game Pass collection, bringing you three unique perspectives from varying skill range. I am the dancing master of this episode, Andrew. With me, the one with two left feet, Keith.
Hello.
And our special dancing guest from Gaming Together podcast, Nave.
Howdy.
Thank you for joining us, Nave. This week, Keith picked this game, I guess. We played Kunitsu-gami Path of the Goddess by Capcom, which is really surprising that this is from Capcom. But
Actually, I questioned that when you said it. It really is Capcom.
Yeah. It's even done with the Resident Evil engine. Kunitsu-gami is a third-person action strategy game where you are playing a spirit warrior who's defending this goddess who is trying to cure these defilements that have taken over this mountain, and you are trying to free the citizens, give the citizens roles to help you defend the goddess as she's doing her work, trying to fix the mountain and cure the defilement. But going around, I'll start, whether this is a game or a pass. For me, I actually will give this a game. I will say I like this game, but I wanted to love this game. And there was just some aspects of this game that kind of made me a little, but I actually liked the actual combat of it. The strategy aspect of it's kind of shallow, but it was still kind of cool. The art style is the thing that I really loved about this game. So I'm really surprised, as I said, this is from Capcom, because Capcom, as of recent, literally has just been a remake company and remaster, just going through their old back catalog. But here it is with a new game that's actually really interesting. So yeah, this is actually worth your time. I'd give it a game.
Yeah, I remember when they this was on, I think, an Xbox showcase, and they really just kind of showed like one of the intro scenes of the monster. I don't even remember seeing a lot of actual gameplay, but I thought it looked pretty cool. So I actually downloaded it on the demo. I tried to convince Andrew to do it, like a mini episode, but he wouldn't do it.
Because it literally was coming out next week.
You know what?
Just play it next week.
Content is content, Andrew.
No, not really.
Either way, I played the demo the week before it came out, and I was pretty jazzed up for it when it came out. The one thing I will say is, I think it's partially like to what Andrew was saying, even though it's a game, is that I don't love it as much as I want to, because I can only play it in spurts of like maybe like an hour, maybe an hour and a half, and I start to get a little bit bored and I need to move on from something else. But every time I went back to it, I was happy to go back to it, and I had fun going back to it. So it is absolutely a game, just not a definite game.
I would definitely say it's a game as well. I made a little post whenever I beat this. I don't beat a lot of games, but I beat this one, and usually that's a good recommendation just on itself. I said the art direction was mesmerizing, and the other half of the game where you're rebuilding the villages really reminded me of Yakuza minigames, and I'm like a huge Yakuza person. I always get addicted to the minigames in the Yakuza. That, besides the art direction, the minigame itself of like just rebuilding, even though it's bare bones, basically, I really loved rebuilding each village, and that turned the game into like a Civ 6 one more turn. Like I could play one more I could do one more mission just to get my last village finished off. I was trying to min-max efficiency. I was like, I've got 5 villagers. I could do 2 here, 3 over there, and I really love that kind of thing. And I would say also that while Keith was playing it in 1 hour intervals, I played 80% of the game in one sitting.
Oh my God.
And then I really did get kind of cracked on it. So
see, it's funny you mentioned Yakuza, because this game actually I struggled too, and because I made the poor choice of starting Yakuza Like a Dragon, and I loved that game. I was playing it so much, and I was like, I really need to play Kunitsu, but I was just like, I want to keep going with Yakuza. So yeah, that was my struggle.
Me too, but it was Lost Judgment. It's the side series of Yakuza. I've just been having to set this aside over and over again for the podcasts I'm guesting on. I'm like, I'll come back, I promise, you got me.
But speaking of your Twitter, highly recommend you follow Gaming Together podcast on Twitter. Your Twitter game is really good, but you always keep a tier list, and I wanted to ask you. I saw you put this game above Unicorn Overlord. You actually like this more than Unicorn Overlord?
I would say yes. The problem with Unicorn Overlord for me was that I think I put it on a difficulty that was too easy. So I kind of just breezed through the game without like really engaging a lot with some of the more in-depth things. But I played it very similarly to Unicorn Overlord, where it was really just like a power wash simulator for me, where I was just, this is my chill out game. It's time to calm down. Except, in Kunitsu-gami, it has boss fights that are actually kind of relatively hard.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, especially near the end. Man, yeah, hearing you talk about Unicorn Overlord on your podcast, I've been so tempted to buy that game because like it sounds
really
like my
love it.
jam. And so then when I saw that you rated this higher, because like for me, like Kunitsu-gami, I find this game pretty relaxing too. But like I don't know, that's why I was just very surprised because I felt like you loved Unicorn Overlord.
I love Unicorn Overlord. Unicorn Overlord is more of a games game, and this game is a lot more of a game as aesthetic with like
Yeah,
the
that's
art
true.
style. I really love art direction in games, especially with how they incorporate it into gameplay. So me and Philip are some of the people who really loved Scorn. Like we love Scorn,
I was gonna
even
say
though
this
it's a
game looks
terrible
like
game.
Scorn.
Yeah, it's really awesome with all the interesting things that I just really highly value, like interesting visual dynamics in games.
Yeah. But yeah, getting to the story of Kunitsu-gami, as I said, you know, this takes place on some sort of mountain. You find out that these demons kind of start appearing out of the Torii Gate and start capturing the citizens, start essentially spewing defile all over the entire mountainside. There is a goddess that inhabits this mountain that is able to actually repel the defilement, and she has a spirit guardian with her named So. I believe that's how you pronounce it, SOH. And that's the character that you play. You go around and you defend the goddess as she's trying to cure the defilement, and you're trying to free the citizens as you're making your way throughout the mountain and trying to fix everything. The story to me was so minimal. Like I actually forgot. I ended up like looking up a lot of things. The whole premise of this game is supposed to be the demons are appearing because of human greed, which is kind of lazy. I feel like anytime a game needs some sort of excuse to have a bad guy, it's just like, human greed. There we go. And this is just kind of one of them. And it's just, so like the story element was kind of odd. It was also weird too. The cutscenes had no dialogue, but there was dialogue when you're playing. People are speaking, but it was so jarring for me in the cutscenes when people are just nodding at each other really kind of awkwardly. But yeah, I was not impressed with the story. This is my biggest complaint. I think is the story.
One of the things I think that evokes is what is it called? The Japanese like theater, like kabuki theater or whatever.
Which
like,
I actually looked up.
Masks,
they have a prequel.
Which I thought was interesting.
There's actually a YouTube prequel where they used Bunraku. And it's but yeah, if you go to YouTube and look up Ceremony of the Deity, the Maiden's Destiny, I guess it's a prequel done in the Bunraku, which is like the Japanese puppets. I didn't actually look it up. I just ended up researching this. So I never ended up watching the video. But I thought that was actually really cool like thing that they did.
Yeah, I should probably go watch that because I mean, I don't know. I'm like half Japanese, so like just have this weird, I just get drawn to Japanese stuff like really easily. And especially like this really old traditional stuff. I don't know. I really love this kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, the demons themselves, I guess, are also loosely based off Japanese folklore.
Yokai.
But yeah, each one of these demons, of course, have like some sort of like affiliation to them.
Yeah, there's there's at the very least a backstory. You get what is it? I don't know, Emmas or the plaques.
Yeah, the plaques that explain everything.
Yeah, so you get every one of the characters, every one of the bosses. They all have a little backstory that you can unlock and read about. And I think it's at least loosely based, if not pretty heavily based, like on accurate lore or folklore.
Yeah.
But I didn't make that. I wasn't sure about that. But I mean, you know me, Andrew. Anytime a story doesn't make me do too much story, I'm pretty much in. It got me what I needed to, and then everything else was just, I don't know, just kind of built around it in a way that I didn't feel like I needed to hear a lot of dialogue of what was going on. I thought it was they made the scenes well acted, and you knew what was happening without needing to hear people. And when you're talking about people talking, are you just talking about like the villagers walking around that are just like saying random things?
like during the actual gameplay, villagers will say things like "I'm alive," and even the goddess will like call to you and actually say dialogue, "Help me."
I don't know that.
But it's weird. Why would they voice act gameplay, but like not at least there's some voice acting in the cutscenes? Is all I'm saying.
It's funny because I played it. I made the voices Japanese, so it makes sense that I didn't notice they were talking during the gameplay. Because
I wish I did.
Probably about a third of the way through the game, I was like, I don't think I need to like listen too much to this, and so I just started listening to like music like in the background, and I was like, this game was just mostly a vibe for me. And I think Keith was, because I noticed really early on that the storytelling way that they were going about it was just showing with rather than telling.
Yeah.
So I was getting all the information I needed, and there was never really any sound cues you needed, like that didn't also have a visual cue accompanying it, like
That's
if
true.
someone's getting close to the priestess or
Yoshiro, which I always end up just calling her Yoshi.
I think
Yeah.
the only, like, there was an item you could equip that would actually make a special sound for like hidden items, I read. But I
Yeah.
think that would be about the only thing that would have its own individual cue, like you were talking about. And
There's
maybe that
I will say there's another thing with the story that kind of confused me. The entire game, you're going down the mountainside. Shouldn't you be going up the mountainside? Because I thought like
well,
the
you
main
started at the
shrine on top of the hill got captured, and I thought you're trying to purify it. So why are you guys going down the hill?
So at
don't
least the
know.
way I kind of figured it out was like, if you look through, there's like a main pathway. So you're
Yeah.
trying to clear that path basically, but you are going through all the villages along the way. So that's why you're kind of zigzagging. But ultimately, there's those main torii gates at each of like the stairs up and down the mountain. So you're clearing
Yeah.
that path down. And also,
And
you're already
that's-
at the top of the mountain. So what are you going to do? Fly down and then just climb back up and clear the villages? No, just clear them as you go
Maybe.
down.
I was expecting a cutscene where the girl falls down the stairs, and you just see like a 20-minute cutscene of her bouncing down every step.
So chasing the whole way.
That would have been great. I mean,
Which
this,
at the end, were you surprised when So was a female? Because I was.
well, spoiler. No, it's just fine. I thought they were, or I thought they were at least could just be ambiguous the whole time. I never beat it. I'm actually 2 levels away.
Yeah, and
Well,
I think
that's
I'm
actually a
same.
spoiler.
But I mean, I don't think it really
didn't.
changes
It
much of the
doesn't.
story. No, I'm
It
just saying, I
doesn't
don't think
really do
change-
anything.
I'm assuming it doesn't change the story.
Yeah, no, because it was weird the whole time I played. I was kind of just inserting myself because I thought that's why they were like they had a mask and they were kind of ambiguous. But it was kind of like a Samus Aran like moment where like they take the mask off and it's a female and you're like, I guess it makes sense. She's a dancer. Literally, all your attacks are dance moves. So
Yep.
it's like, oh, okay, well.
Which I kept
That's what I
joking. I
get.
kept calling this game Dance Dance Purification. Because it's literally, yeah, it's a whole lot of dancing. But it does go with the art style though, which I love.
Yeah, I honestly would have thought that your character would just stay kind of ambiguous, and I thought
thought so,
because
too.
I thought it was kind of interesting too that the goddess was the only character that didn't have a mask ever, and everyone else did. The villagers, you do, and all that. But it almost feels lame to take off the mask.
Yeah, I'm kind of disappointed. Yeah, I just
I
assumed
wonder
you were
what
gonna,
that means. Like all of the masks and stuff. I'm sure there's some kind of like reason for all of that. Even probably the taking off of the mask later on. Like
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, because I always assumed they were just going to stay ambiguous because you're a spirit. Like, so I just figured you weren't going to be anything. It's just you're just a spirit.
Maybe you're like are you like the other half of her? Like you're the spirit of the goddess who takes a physical form? I don't know.
See,
Yeah,
I tried,
maybe you only see her for like a second, and so it's like the mask comes off, and you're like, oh, and then like it's over. Like the game's over.
It scared you.
It really is a jump scare.
So should we also give this a scary rating 1 to 10?
Yeah. Well, this game is scary. I mean, if I saw these monsters with their hands coming out of their throats and stuff, I'm like, I would be horrified.
Oh yeah, definitely. But yeah, let's get into the gameplay. So this is where the game I think really shines. So as I said, this is a third-person action game with also a strategy element to it, also a little bit of base building. But you are going between each level. There is a defiled path that you essentially have to carve out for the goddess. You have to collect this currency, these soul crystals, I think they were. There's some sort of like jewels. But you need those in order to carve the path, in order to free the villagers, and also to give the villagers a role. So you have to do this during the day, and come nighttime, the torii gates activate, demons start pouring through, trying to kill the goddess, and you got to defend her with the villagers. But I first got excited with this gameplay because this game, me and Keith reference it all the time, but this is a very much combat of Dynasty Warriors. So it's X and Y. How many times you're hitting X, and then you follow up with a Y, and you do kind of a special move, which is very much like Dynasty Warriors. So at first I was like, sweet, this game's like Dynasty Warriors. I'm a big fan of real-time strategy games, so I was like, and I get to command some villagers. Awesome. But I to me, the strategy element of the game was just a little bit weak. That was my biggest complaint. But overall, though, I'm with Keith. I was more I liked doing a couple levels, then taking a break. I thought this game was kind of a nice kind of take your time with. I know you disagree, Nave, because you did it all mostly one sitting, which is very impressive.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what it was, but this game was just really relaxing to me. And it's kind of just like you're doing the same thing, but two different things. So like the yin yang of like stressful combat and then calming, rebuilding afterwards kind of like gave this ebb and flow that really that suited my personality like really easily. And I don't know how much I enjoyed the combat per se, but like I think that it's like the combat is serviceable and the strategy is okay, like at best, but like together you kind of just like find a way to break things. And I think that that's how I was thinking about it, was like I was like, oh, these riflemen are really good. And then I'd get someone else, I'm like, oh, the healer's great, but the sorcerer is where it's at. I need to build a thing that keeps the sorcerer alive. And then I just blow up the whole map and like win that way. And I'm like, okay, so now I'm gonna move around, maneuver everything for the sorcerer, and then you do that last boss rush at the end of the game, and it's like I can't do what I was doing before. So now I've got to like figure out how to. So like once you kind of like get into that mindset, well, the last boss rush might make you guys. Yeah, I mean, I don't think you guys are at that point yet, but the last level is like you go back up the mountain, up the center stairs, and you fight all the way up. And it's really cool because like you get to try out all different ways to like make your characters, and I don't know, it's really cool.
That does sound really. Now, does it do it all like in one set piece, or does it break it up like as you go through and has almost like checkpoints?
Yeah, it breaks it up at each Torii gate, and so you're basically you fight. It gives you a bunch of people, and you make them you fight, and either you die and you just remake your dudes, or you push on and it gives you new people and more money, and like so you kind of just like are mixing and matching and trying to figure out the most efficient way to fight the bosses because you're doing it all on one health bar, like with the sorceress. So
okay.
See,
which I screwed up. I was like on the third boss and I let her lose like half her health and I had to suffer for the rest of the thing, but I was too stubborn to restart, even though I probably could have reset and beat it faster than me just suffering through it.
That's exactly what I would have done. But see that like you mentioning that, I feel like the whole game kind of did that a little bit too. And it was something that I really appreciated, is that you started out in those first villages. And I'm first of all wondering, like, why are there only 2 people in this whole entire village? This isn't a village. This is 2 people living in a house in the woods. But like every level that you go through, you start to get more and more villagers each time. And so it becomes a lot more of building out on how you strategize. I do agree with you. And I think this is where the combat almost became a little flat, as you just found the one overpowered villager. Like that rifleman is pretty much where I'm at, and it's carried me at least through, I think, to 2 or 3 levels from the end. I just maxed them out. But outside of that, like I really appreciated it. I think what I was most disappointed with was the village rebuilding.
Yeah,
I don't know
same.
Andrew knows this game is near and dear to my heart. I don't know if you ever recall the game Dark Cloud back on, I think, was it PlayStation 1, Andrew?
It was 2.
PlayStation 2.
I remember PlayStation Zelda, or whatever people called it.
Dark Cloud is maybe forever one of my favorite village rebuilding games of all time. It was like a dungeon crawler. You went in, you had to collect whatever resource it was, and you could go back and you would rebuild the town and you get the set pieces for it. But it was like, this person doesn't want to be too close to this person and they don't get along with that person. And you had to like,
it's a puzzle.
It was a puzzle of like putting it all together, and you had limited space to do it. It was just so much fun. But I kind of just felt like I was just spending time to go do that and then go do a couple runs to finish it out. Like there was no true strategy. I appreciated it, and it was nice breakup of it, but I wanted more from it at least.
Yeah, I found the village building to just be padding. Like it literally was like, hey, you got to load in and actually walk around this village just to go up to the building and tell people, hey, build this. And then you got to play a level for you got to do a stage in order for it to be built. Some things require 2 stages to do, but it was just padding of just going in and be like, hey, can you build this? Like I would have preferred it was a menu. Like it was kind of annoying having to load in, walk around this area, go up to a building, be like, yeah, build this. Okay, now I'm going to leave so I can actually play the game.
You didn't like petting the chickens?
I did do that.
I did for the achievement.
I
Yeah, I
also
got the
did like
achievement. I didn't know there was an achievement. I just every time I saw an animal, I was like, "Ooh, I'm gonna pet that guy now."
I did like that. I thought it was there's like two. It's like the chicken and the cow are the only two you can't pet or something like that. But I did appreciate that aspect of it. Like watching, there was that kind of watery level that it was the toxic pools on, where like the lily pads would grow up through the water
Oh yeah,
as you do that. So that was like visually very cool. And as you've mentioned, like the visuals in this game are just so good that I really did appreciate that. It was just, I think, like Andrew said, it was the loading screen. If it weren't for the loading screen every time, I probably would have been way more on board with it. And it's so minimal and seems trivial, but I think it's what set it for me.
yeah. Whenever I was doing it, I definitely had in my mind, I was like, "This is a waste of time." That what I'm doing, but I just there's something like almost like feng shui about it, where I'm like, I didn't need to do it. I don't think you ever need to do it. I think you can mainline all of the missions and never go back and rebuild any of the things. The only thing that it gives you is it gives you those plaques so you can read about the demons, and it gives you the snacks, and you can read what the snacks are, like how they use red bean paste, and it's like I'm like, okay, this is really cool, and just like it's all like extra stuff that I didn't ever need to. I did Trump hands just now.
Every once in a while, it would actually give you the upgrade crystals. There's another type of currency. This game does have a little bit of RPG elements of you can choose what villager roles to level up, or you can actually level up your character. There's a specific crystal for it. Every once in a while, yeah, it'll give you 5 crystals. So it's like a little bit of currency. So like it did benefit you, but yeah, it was just kind of tedious. And that's what I didn't get. You were unlocked snacks. Like, what was the purpose of the snacks? Like I was like, there's even an achievement to unlock all the snacks. So I'm like, oh, do these do anything? Nah, it's just a snack you can give the goddess and watch her eat. That's it.
Yeah, just watch her eat it. And there's something the Japanese fucking love food, like, and making food in games. Like you said you haven't played Unicorn Overlord yet. There's a whole food mechanic in the game that doesn't really do anything, but it's just like, look at how beautifully this food is rendered. Isn't it great? And then people are like, yeah, this is all. And then every time I stopped at a place that at a diner, I was like, I'm gonna stop and eat the food. I'm gonna eat all of it. I don't know. Yeah, there's just small little things. It's funny that you brought up Unicorn Overlord, because the going back and like rebuilding mechanic is present in that game as well, where like you're slowly getting in that game you're liberating everything, but you're liberating everyone, and then you go back and use resources to rebuild. In that game, rebuilding gives you more resources in which you can rebuild more things faster. So it's
I love that kind of mechanic.
Yeah, so in this game, there's not as much, but it does give you, there is a reason to go back and fix all the villages, and that's because when you finish fixing them, it unlocks more, like, you get these, like, little sword guards that give you abilities, or sometimes it'll give you, like, a talisman that changes, like, how much health you have or something. I don't think and also I think all of the necessary talismans are found on the maps. They're never, like, one of those things that you have to ever unlock. So I mean, I wouldn't know, but
I think for the most part, I think there are a fair number of those ones that are more like unique in terms of like situational, like as you said, because you don't really need them. But I think I just got one recently where it was like, you do way more power if you have no unlocked villagers, and there's a specific level where you fight without any villagers. So it would be useful to upgrade your attack and your health by a large amount when you don't have them, but you're not going to use that really just about any other time because you unlock the villagers for your path making and all that. So
see,
that's another thing though. You could play the game in different ways. Yeah. Towards the end of the game, because I was like, I could get a bunch of riflemen, and I still can, but I'm gonna like make a sumo and have a bunch of spearmen. I like have 2 sumos and then have the slowy people. And like I was like going out of my way to just break up the monotony of like the same build I kept building. Yeah. Especially once I unlocked the what are they called? The ninja. I was like, oh, the ninjas are cool. Then they synergize with the sumos really good too, and the people that slow people down. So I'm like, now I can put people all along the edges here. Like it was like this silly different, like, and you do, if you want to like unlock all of this different stuff, you have to go back and like replay the missions anyway, because it's like you can either grab all of the items and get all the villagers and do all the thing to open the box, or you can try and do that mission. You can't usually do both, because usually it's you in either direction. And so like once you're going back and doing it, it's like, oh, I bet I could probably do this like a little bit easier. And the missions are only like 5 to 10 minutes long at most. And so it's like nothing is ever unreachable is the way that I would say it. Nothing ever seems like a lot. Everything is like a moderate amount. That makes me want to just go, I could probably do one more mission and that'll be fine. You know what I mean?
Yeah. See, for me, I wish this game was more like cumulative. Like I was like you were saying, Nave, about Unicorn Overlord. I would have loved if it was one singular base that I was continuously building up. And also too, I was hoping that I was carrying over the villagers. Because like first village, you're only like saving like 2-3 people. Then it's like, oh, you go to the next level, it's like 4 people. I was hoping to keep getting and building an army. And by the end of the game, I'm commanding like 40 people to take on a big bad guy and do this epic fight. But it's not. At most, I think the most villagers you get in a level are like 12, which is a good amount.
Yeah.
But I was just hoping for something bigger with the base building and the strategy element.
I don't think the command aspect of it was good enough to have that many. I think 12 fit the overall style of how you could command. And I think there were certain skills you could even command, like control them differently. But overall, I might have to like give more to what you're saying as far as like trying different characters, because I did go with the aesthetic, the slow guy.
Yeah, he's surprisingly
maxed out.
useful. I actually really like him.
Well, especially because when you max it out, the slow also does damage. So I have him and the those two, them and the marksman maxed out, and I think a couple others, but that's predominantly what I use is those two, because I just slow them, and then the marksman just blast of everyone, and I pretty much just keep them in a big pile. But maybe that's a little bit of why I'm going one or two of just get through this match and go on to something else. But because I do appreciate all of the different elements and what they have. I just don't use them.
Yeah, and the game never really gives you a reason to use them. It's like if you in the old Mortal Kombat games, like you can just uppercut and low kick all the time. And
my wife always loves referencing that the fast punching.
Yeah,
that was like one of the few games she played when she was a kid. She's like, yeah, I was just lock my brother in the corner, just keep fast punching him to death. It's like you were that player. I hated playing those people.
Yeah, did you
if you're winning, you might as well. I did start New Game Plus, but I played 2 missions and I was like, okay,
the same game.
I'm gonna play. Yeah, I think the whole thing about it is to upgrade everybody all the way up, because you do not get nowhere near enough like money to upgrade everybody on the first playthrough. And I was kind of upgrading everyone evenly. So every person, I think the only person I maxed out was the marksman, and everybody, or I did it to the healer as well, because when they're maxed out and they die, they'll revive everybody who's cocooned around them. And I was like, that'll be useful. Yeah. And then it never happened. So
how to make sure your characters never die? Give them a revive.
So with the New Game Plus, does it actually start does it up the difficulty, or is it still the same difficulty?
I wasn't. I'm sure it did. It had to have updated the difficulty, but I didn't really notice, because I was still. I mean, I don't know. I think I broke it in my head, so I never really struggled unless I was fighting a boss. And even then, I would like die once. I'm like, okay, I know what I did wrong, and then just beat the shit out of him the second time I fought him. But I didn't notice.
Okay, because like I'm assuming the game expects you to beat New Game Plus, because I think there's another boss. There's a secret achievement, in which I saw you beat the game and you didn't do it. So I'm assuming it's a secret boss once you do New Game Plus. But this game does have a lot of, I will say this game has a lot of meat on its bones. Like there's a lot you can do in this game. Like there is an achievement to fully upgrade everyone, fully upgrade your character. And you need a lot of crystals in order to do that. But every level 2 has challenges, which you don't know the challenge until you beat the level. So the very first level you go through, but then like at the end, it's like, oh, for challenges, have like 3 different job types for the villagers. Don't let the goddess take any damage, or it'll be like destroy every pot. Like they're kind of random. But every level has them. And then if you do New Game Plus, it adds a whole bunch of other more challenges for all the stages too. So there is actually a lot to do. If you really want to 100% this game, there's a lot to do here.
Yeah, I think, I don't want to say I burnt myself out on it, but I did spend a fair chunk of my first sitting or couple of sittings trying to max out every single level. And I think I did it up until the first one where you have to pay the gems to beat the level.
That one's tough. Yeah.
Oh, those, I don't like those.
Because that one, you're not even a human.
Yeah.
I did cheese that one though. You can go back very easily when you get to the later stages and you have enough, of a purse that you can have. I think it's like up to 1,300. I went back to that, collected 200, just started the level and beat it. because you only needed 1500. So I had to go into other levels starting with 0, and that's which just kind of on a different cycle, but it reminded me like it's kind of a weird aspect. You never go into any level with any set amount. Like you sometimes almost have to go back and play a level if you screwed yourself over and like somehow spent too much money, which maybe only happens if you do what I did.
Yeah, but they do give you some at the beginning of some of the levels.
Yeah.
Like the boss fights and stuff. Like, because there's no way to actually get money inside of those.
Which, thank God for the boss fights. Because I was going to say, the other thing that kind of annoying with gameplay, it doesn't change its formula too much. 90% of the levels is you just carving up path, guiding the goddess, defending her, and that's it. As we said, there's some levels where you aren't even able to fight, and it's just you purely commanding the villagers, which I didn't like those levels because it was so long. Like, to me, I'm like, enemies are not spawning fast enough. Like, come on, like, give me the crystals. Like, I just want to get this level done. But the boss fights, though, I got to say, were actually pretty fun and pretty tough.
Did you ever screw yourself, like, in
all
like
the time.
moving the goddess into a weird place? And,
right in front of the main Torii gate.
Yeah.
And the enemies
like,
are just pouring right onto her, and it's just like, come on.
Yeah, I was like, why would you could tell her to stop, and I was like, why would I ever do that? And then I was stuck in front of that Torii gate, like, I'm never gonna beat this mission, dude. This was a bad idea.
Oh, that's why I tell her to stop. Yeah, I did that all the time, unfortunately. That frustrated me. But
yeah.
But yet this is with the boss fights. I screw myself a lot with the boss fights because some of the boss fights, you have no idea what the boss is. So at the beginning, they give you villagers, they give you currency, and so you're already designing the roles for the villagers, but you don't know what boss you're going against. So there's sometimes I created a lot of melee guys, and the boss is a flying type, and it's like, this sucks. So I'm gonna try to knock this guy down so my guys can actually help me out in this fight.
The only real thing, because you go into the area and like half of the area is like cordoned off, and like the only thing you can ever do is like look around and just be like, all right, what do I get from the surroundings here? There's the one I remember specifically. I think it was like a giant frog kind of creature, but like it was in a giant bowl.
Yeah,
and there are 2 cannons on either side, and I was like, what is this? Like, what is about to happen here?
He wasn't that bad.
No, actually, that was one of the only ones I almost beat the par time my first try through.
All the other thing about him, he was the one that did half of my damage in the boss rush to my sorceress, and the reason why is because when you stun him, as soon as he comes out of the stun, he always does this big tidal wave attack, and that almost, I don't know how to not get hit by that. Like, I don't know how to not like protect my sorceress from that, but she got hit like 3 times from that, and I was like, that's probably not good, but I'll be all right. And then it was not all right because it's okay.
We made it.
Which the controls are a little weird. Like I first started this game, and then like I said, ended up playing Yakuza Like a Dragon. So it's like 3 days till I picked this game up again. I forgot how to dodge. The dodge is clicking the left stick, which is really weird.
It's really ineffective too. I mean,
I think you're invincible when you do it.
Is it?
Yeah, you are invincible, but you can sometimes dodge into other attacks because some of the creatures are like huge, or they're doing multiple attacks at once, like the big bellhead guy who's tight. Dude, so many of the monsters are so cool. Except like when I would see them, I'd just be like, no.
That
like
bell guy, anytime I see him,
there is a flying enemy that slams down over and over again, and sometimes I'll have like one lingering dude somewhere nearby, and he'll go and slam on the priest just like 5 times. I'm like, why? Why
that
did
happened
that happen
to me? And it killed her, and I was like, get away from the priestess. No, the guys that were the bane of my existence.
That was the one that got me the most of the bosses.
No,
because you need them, you need your people to be near her, because when he goes to the ceiling, it drops those maggots. But then, like, if he starts attacking them, he'll hit her over and over again because he's inside of. Oh my god, it's so annoying.
Yeah, and he would death spiral me every time.
The worst one for me. There's a specific level where it's like a possession demon. It possesses the goddess, and that's how you are not able to fight in the level. You're just a spirit. It eventually becomes a main character, and it can possess any villagers. And when it does that, you can't hurt it. The villager walks around with a damaging aura that anyone near this villager that's possessed just damages everyone. And the first time this guy appeared, I had the thief, because I had the thief max upgraded, which he goes around and collects gems for me, which was super useful. But he always went back to the goddess, and he was possessed. And I just see the goddess's health dropping, and I'm like, what is going on? And then it's like, finally I figured out that this thief is just damaging everyone. So it's like this idiot. And I tried sending him out in the field, but of course he's still running around collecting gems. So he runs back to the goddess, and it's like, I ended up losing because of him. Those guys were annoying.
Yeah, you'd have to switch them off. You had to like
that's
turn
not
them into
even a
something
boss.
else.
Is it? Those are just, I think, like
there was just a regular guy.
Yeah, those ones weren't bad, but because I think the only time it ever impacted me is it picked off some of my marksmen, because I was just purely on them, or I think I had gone from archers and then I upgraded to marksmen once I got them available. So I had them like up on the little posts or whatever, so they got impacted, but their aura didn't hurt anyone because they were up there by themselves.
You should definitely, because they always picked off my sumos, and like the sumos are so good.
I love the
like,
sumos.
They're so good.
I think I used them like once. I gotta try more.
They're super expensive.
If you put a sumo in the middle of just an area and just put marksmen around them, the sumos
taunt,
aggro everyone.
Yeah.
And so the sumos have basically the entire range of a marksman, but they're taunting everything. So everything has to come to them. Oh, they're so good.
Yeah.
Crap. I have to. Okay.
I literally would just get one sumo and do that, and just have everyone kind of near the sumo, and everyone just blasts the enemy while he just pulls them in.
So like they would taunt the thing that puts an aura on them, and then everything's around the sumo, and so everything just starts dying, and I'm like, what happened? Like everyone's dead over there.
It's amazing. I have to try that now.
You guys got to try the sorcerer too. The sorcerer is my favorite.
See, I got
the
him,
sorcerer,
but I only have one.
I forgot that I maxed the sorcerer out as well. But like when at the max, the sorcerer like shield, he gets on because everyone has like two primary like upgrades in their little tree.
Yeah.
The first one for the sorcerer, I think it gives him like a aura that protects him from damage for a while.
Oh.
And then the second one is like it protects somebody else from damage. But it doesn't attack. It just sits there and charges up an ability. So you'll get a fourth ability, and as soon as it's full up, you summon a Final Fantasy behemoth that just destroys everything in the level. And it basically it charges up fast enough that you can use it once every night. And so it's like it's so good in the later levels. Like it comes in clutch all the time for me. Especially in this one level where there's like you're walking down basically the beaches of Normandy. On both sides, there's like 5 Tory gates, and there's constantly the biggest enemies coming at you.
Oh, is that the logging camp? I just beat that level. It's literally all giant guys.
And there's like 8 Tory gates that you can walk through. Like you don't have to cleanse them, but like you can like make them
defensive structures.
And I was like, this is fine. I got these things, and then they break them in like 5 seconds, and I'm like, oh my god, oh no. But yeah, the sorcerer one shots everything. Yeah, it does like 80% damage to most bosses. So like it's crazy if you can just last long enough.
Yeah, that was the logging camp level. I just finished that one. Which this is gonna be one of my pro tips if you play this game. So you get these talismans that kind of give you an upgrade. Sometimes they're like, improves the health of the villagers, improves your attack. There's one talisman where it improves the speed of the carpenter. The carpenter to me was so useful because he goes around, like there's set areas where there's defensive structures, and the carpenter can just build them up. So come nighttime when the enemies attack, you'll have these defensive structures ready. He is so slow, and you only get one carpenter. Yeah. I wish you could get more, but just speeding up his building was so significant, especially in that level. Because those behemoth guys are just all coming at, and like you just need defensive structures.
Yeah, the amount of times that I would accidentally cancel when he was halfway through and start building something else. Like, restarting this level.
Yeah, and he rebuilds. There's like little circle spots where like it does something to your characters that are inside of it, and he rebuilds those too. And then those are like almost always amazing perches for marksmen.
Oh yeah,
those. The marksmen are just so good. And they just save you. They save you. Like the marksmen just shoot. It feels like, I don't know. You know in Bloons Tower Defense, like you can set the specific monkeys to hit the last thing and the strongest thing. Like I feel like the marksmen are just always set to the correct one, no matter what the level is.
Yeah, and their bullets pierce, so it actually like hits multiple enemies when they shoot.
Yeah, I think that's one of their things is that they pierce more whenever.
So
here's Morgan.
Another pro tip: if you get the marksman, just invest in the marksman.
Just invest in the marksman. I was a little disappointed in the skills you could upgrade for So. Like there's two different, you can change your dance attack, and one of them basically felt like it was the same as what you already have. I think it just did a little more damage. The other one, it's like a purple ribbon, but
I did that one.
See, I tried it, and maybe it was just because I didn't upgrade the whole thing, but it felt very jarring, and I ended up going back to the other one.
The purple, it was kind of like using a heavy weapon. Your attacks were slower, but they hit harder.
Yeah, so I didn't care for that much, and I upgraded all the other like side little passive things where you can start to get like the counter attacks and all that good stuff. But I was hoping for a little bit more, because other than, I think maybe like you said, like the builder talisman, they didn't largely feel like they made a huge difference. Like I tried to use them to my advantage where I could, but I didn't feel like it was like, wow, everything is like so much stronger now. I just kept building marksman.
See,
the only things I ever did for So was I just got extra talismans and extra one of those, like the, what are they called? The sword guards?
The Suba guards, if I'm saying that right.
Yeah.
Which I didn't even know what they were until like the last couple of missions of the game where I was staring at them, trying to like analyze. I was like, they're literally just like the part of the sword that goes above your hand.
Oh, that's what that is. Okay. Right. Yeah, it's like the actual sword guard. Okay. Oh, that makes sense.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, I thought you said they were talismans.
But then that red ribbon, is that like what's on the end of your sword then?
The hilt?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
It took me forever to figure out how to change the arrow.
Yes.
I had to look it up because I was like, I cannot find. It says go to my equipment. I'm at my equipment. It made me very angry.
It's just like a little bit of, it's like beads on your sword ribbon,
and it doesn't auto select it. You have to move the cursor to find it.
Oh, you guys are talking about equipping them. No, what I was going to complain about, it's another one about the issues with the controls. To switch them mid game, like, because you can equip up to 3 and you can alternate, like switch them out to activate them. It's down on the D-pad. But up on the D-pad's camera mode, and I kept hitting up on the D-pad to like, and it would enter, like, stop the game and enter camera mode. I'm like, no, I'm fighting a boss.
But I think that's because I didn't go a week between playing it. But that part I didn't have issue with. It was trying to change them at the actual menus that was giving me a struggle. And like the arrow in particular, it's a little bead on your red string. But like the little sword guards, those auto select with your cursor. When you go over to the talismans, those auto select. I swear you have to manually move the cursor to float over to that bead, and then it selects it. But
like it's an Easter egg.
Yeah, like
that's important.
And it taunts you too, because it's like, yeah, if you want to equip this, just go into your equipment. I'm like, damn, there.
Yeah, and you can only equip one at a time, and so I bought 2 of them, thinking that they stacked, and I was like, well, but it's fine because one I needed because it's that butterfly dash thing. Because I was like, I want that treasure over there. But the other one is great against bosses where it's just the supercharge, where like that, I was like, how I was like in the last third of the game, and I was like, how did I survive without this? This is like constantly chipping away at the stun meter. Like that's because before I was like, the only way I could chip away at that thing was using my like ultimate abilities.
The bow overall was actually really strong. It would take about like all the weak enemies, and you had never had to think about aiming it. Like you could auto target, but if I was just like, crap, it's getting close, I just hit the trigger and boom, it would pick off, like almost like you were talking about with the marksman. It would pick off the one that was like closest to Yoshiro every.
Yeah, as long as you weren't like looking the complete opposite direction, like it would almost always hit the thing you probably wanted to hit regardless, which is great. Because there are some games where I'm just like, why? Like, no. The guy is in front of me. I wanted to hit that guy. Whatever.
Yeah, the bow is as soon as you're upgraded, you're able to upgrade your character. Just get the bow. Because the other great thing about the bow, so normally you'll just have a sword. So some of the flying enemies are kind of hard to hit. But there's a combo if you just hit X once and then Y, you actually do like an upward attack. You can hit the air enemies. But what was great about the bow is during the daytime when you're like fixing up and clearing the path for the goddess, there's defiled animals, and you have to go up to with your sword. You can hit them, cure the defilement, and they give you rations, which are health packs. But a lot of them are kind of fast. But if you have the bow, majority of the animals you can actually like cure within one arrow. So instead of like going up to an enemy and try to like one of the animals and cure them, and they'd run away, I end up missing my swing, looking like an idiot. I could just shoot the bow and boom, got him, got a health pack.
Which that was another talisman you get where it was like animals are less likely to notice you, which I'm like, I didn't need those rations. Like I used them, and there were times that yes, I did need them, but
I feel
overall,
like you did near the end.
Maybe.
I was using them a lot.
And I certainly was, but there was never a point where I was like, oh crap, if I just had one more animal, I guess. But I was mostly clearing them because I just enjoyed that as you were going about the day, they would go over and just like sit with Yoshiro. I'm like, oh, hey
Yeah.
guys,
Yeah.
thanks for hanging with her while I'm busy.
But I also know it's an
Keeping her
achievement
company.
to kill, to like free like 100 defiled animals. So I was like, I gotta hit
Wow.
every single one.
That's a lot.
Yeah,
I didn't
it
get
is.
that.
But also for the time to beat in this game, you're looking between like 16 hours to 19 hours. But of course, then there's like the new game plus, which I think is like slotted at like 31 hours. So like I said, there's a lot to do in this game. But yeah, since you guys were talking about how confusing it is to like equip the guards, like this is a thing that's like a pro and a con with this game. This game's art style is awesome. They definitely went in with it, and it's just, but it's also part of its detriment because, as you guys said, you had a hard time figuring out the equipment, but everything is meant to be very kind of like realistic. Of when you go into this tent with the goddess, and that's kind of like your menus. You can give her sweets, you can look at like scrolls, you can do a whole bunch of like, there's a lot of unnecessary stuff in there, but there's also very important stuff in there, and so a lot of it just kind of gets lost in confusion that like you kind of forget what things are. But I loved the monsters, were so good in this game.
Yeah, the monsters are great. And it's like you gotta suffer for fashion. You know, fashion is suffering, I think is the saying. I think that whenever you're going really, really hard on the aesthetic, I kind of enjoy that. As long as I'm not like just horrifically confused. And this game is simple enough that like I think it's really hard to get like not knowing where your arrows are. That makes sense as annoying, but it's like because that happened to me also. I had to Google it, but it's like at least it's not like Civ 6. You know what I mean?
That's
Civ
true.
6 needs to look like as Microsoft Excel spreadsheet as possible so that you can find everything.
That's true.
And even then, there's just so much. In this game, you got a handful of things and you're never really like at needing to know like a ton. You can play the whole game without reading a single word, probably.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know. I think that it's worth it for the simplicity of the game. Kind of like it's worth it going for that aesthetic push. Like if this was in Unicorn Overlord and everything was hard to find, it would probably be backbreaking for the game.
That's true.
Yeah, and I mean, it's like not to shill for IGN by any means, but in one of my searches of trying to figure out like what is the purpose of the suites, you know, I was just making sure I wasn't missing anything, that they don't give me some secret power. They had some little write-up talking about it, and I think it's just overall the studio's commitment to the aesthetic that they're going for. And I think that's what you were saying too, Nave, is that it's like it's supposed to be immersive and feel like you part of this whole world. And I think that it's really cool. I didn't really mind all of that even. I was just really mad that I couldn't find the bow. Honestly, but outside of that, I didn't even think the menus were really all that complicated. I didn't think all the extra stuff was overly in your face. Like, you know, when we talked about Exoprimal when we were on with you guys, like that was a game of menus that are just a clustered mess. We just talked about Call of Duty 3. The menus in that game are a clustered mess. This is all
Dude,
there.
I didn't even. It took me like 10 minutes to find the campaign.
Yes.
I was like, where is it?
We talked about that in our episode.
It's so bad. But yeah, this is all just like extra stuff that I was like, I don't know. Instead of being in a pause menu, it was just there in the tent with Yoshiro, and I thought that was like a really cool aspect to it because it just fit the overall visual of everything. And you guys said it, but the monsters were so cool, and it's funny because I didn't really care for Scorn and all of that. And I don't generally even like, you know, body horror doesn't do much for me, but there was something about these monsters that they were like grotesque, but not in a bloody way.
Yeah.
They were just weird. Like that very first big boss you fight where he walks out and he just, you know,
cracks open his jaw.
Head.
I was like, oh, that's kind of gross, but like super cool. And so I always was like excited for each new cutscene of the bosses.
Yeah. But
yeah, the bosses were all great.
But I think like another issue though, like kind of a detriment with this art style. I remember when the trailer first came with this game, even now, like I honestly had no idea what this game was or what its gameplay was because of its art style. Like, yeah, I remember this game first announced and like we talked about it. I was like, looks cool. No idea what you're doing, but it looks cool. And like, that's what's kind of crazy. This game to me had like, as far as I saw, zero advertisement. Like I've heard no one talk about it. It literally was just like, one day here it is. And it's just like, I don't really know what it is, but it's cool enough that I'm intrigued. I want to check it out. But like, that's the thing that kind of stinks about it. And that's why I'm surprised this is also done by Capcom because it's to me, this
Yeah.
looks like a kind of a risky game to kind of back up, but it is awesome with its art style.
I wonder who. Hold on. Let me see who made it.
Uh,
Was it literally developer Capcom?
yeah,
man?
Capcom Division 1.
so
They're
I
behind.
thought it was in the studio.
No,
Eh?
it's the Division 1, so it's the people who are behind. I had it already pulled up. Resident Evil and Devil May Cry.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's because you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of like Pentiment and Grounded from Obsidian.
Yeah.
Like like they have these small little splinter groups within Obsidian. It's still Obsidian, but like it's a smaller group making these two like passion projects, and then while everyone else is like working on the big old Avowed or whatever. R.I.P.
Yeah.
It has been delayed.
It'll come out someday, maybe.
But another thing I was a little disappointed in was the music. I enjoyed it at first, but there wasn't a lot of soundtrack. And you're hearing the same, like there's the one soundtrack every time you're going to repair the villages. And that kind of got a little annoying.
Oh, so I've got something for you, my friend. When you beat the game, you unlock a new villager that is just a drummer that just plays new songs in the villages.
Oh,
no, that's
so
kind of
you
nice.
can just chill in there and vibe.
Okay,
to new music
because I liked the
doesn't do
soundtrack.
anything else.
Hang with the animals. Yeah, I liked the battleground music a lot.
Yeah.
Like they're overall, I think you could play without it just fine, and it wouldn't have a major detriment to it.
Yeah,
But
because there's no dialogue.
yeah, but there are definitely points where I was kind of jamming to the music. There were some good like guitar riffs happening in one of the battles I was playing. It's pretty intense. Like not
I don't
heavy.
remember a guitar.
Obviously. It was. I'm not talking heavy guitar. I'm not like.
But
there
was
like no, but
They
there
actually got the Cannibal Corpse guitarist.
but no, there was at one point. I swear it was there. I heard it because I was
maybe butt rock.
maybe I just had Spotify going in the background and I didn't realize it.
Yeah, I mean the Japanese do love heavy guitar. They do. They really do. You
Especially
should hear
during this era.
Some of Yakuza battle musics is like they're great.
Oh yeah,
they're iconic.
it's good. But yeah, so that I'm looking forward to that drummer then. Oh yeah, that was this. Speaking of the audio, did you guys get the talisman? There's a talisman where it says the villagers will say hi to you. Did you guys?
Yeah,
did.
it's
I
like one of the
didn't use
first ones you get. I
I
was like, hell yeah! Goodbye, the one that gives me more health, the useful one.
Yeah, did it actually do anything? Or did people just say hi to you?
I didn't even notice.
Okay,
because they're in Japanese for me, so I didn't even notice. If they said hi, I wouldn't even know.
Like the talismans are meant to be useful perks, and it's like you're gonna take up a slot to have villagers just say hi to you. Like, what was the point
Dude,
of that?
I would equip a talisman if it said that the animals follow me around.
That,
like,
that would actually be
yep,
kind of cool.
that's my talisman.
Yeah, but villagers saying hi. I was like, why would anyone equip this?
I almost did it because I assumed it was an achievement, but I didn't actually care to find out.
But speaking of achievements, though, overall this game's achievements aren't too bad. I don't know if I'd recommend it for achievement hunters because you got to do a whole lot of hours. Nave,
Yeah.
I know you beat it, and you're at like 270.
Yeah, I did not get a ton of the achievements. Most of the achievements are unlocked in New Game Plus, I think.
Yeah, and a lot of them are completion achievements. You know, like upgrading all of this, all of that, like all of the villagers, upgrading all of your character, unlocking all of the suites. So there is a lot. But if you are just looking for easy daily achievements, every level gets you an achievement, which is great. But they're only worth like 10 gamer score. So
yeah, there's a lot because there's a lot of them.
It's very doable to 1,000 this game. Like looking at the achievements, I did not see it and be like, oh, this is going to be just a ton of work. If you truly love this game, I think you could easily 1,000 this game. I got 29 achievements and my gamer score was 290.
Yeah, I'm at 230 with 23. So I think that's probably basically levels, and because you probably did the same thing I did with like petting the animals 100 times in a row. Just to get the achievement.
I mean, honestly, I accidentally kept petting the animals because sometimes it would just stand in front of the thing you need to repair. And that would kind of irritate me because I'm like, get out of the way, cat. I'm trying to repair this thing.
But they would just give you a shoe option.
Surprisingly, they don't. Yeah, so overall, the achievements are fine. If you want a 1,000 this game, it is doable. But overall, though, for achievement hunters, I don't think I'd recommend it. But yeah, looking at our final thoughts here. So for me, Kunitsu-gami, I did not know what to expect from this game. I saw some trailers of it. It looked interesting. Saw it was from Capcom. I was like, all right, cool. Like I said, I'm a big real-time strategy fan. I love third-person action games. So this is a game that does well with that. I wanted a little bit more out of the strategy element of it, but I at least liked kind of the role-playing elements, upgrading your characters, upgrading, the villagers, unlocking things. Art style is awesome. So this game did surprise me. It is worth your time. It's surprising, like I said, that Capcom kind of rolled with this. Definitely check it out. This is, like I said, I'm more in the boat with Keith of, I feel like this is a game that you could kind of play for a couple hours, take a break, go back to it. But I agree with Nave. I found this game overall very relaxing. Some boss fights were a little hard. Nothing frustrated me too bad. If you ever lost, it did just set you back the night. So you didn't lose a lot of progress, which also because of that, this game is also really good on xCloud. If you're playing this and you need to stop the game at any time, it at least stays where you are mid-stage on that day. So you don't lose a lot of progress if you have to drop the game and go do something. For me, yeah, I'd give this game an 85.
An 85.
You can go, Nave. I was just looking something up.
Well, I genuinely do really enjoy these types of like aesthetically pleasing games. Like I said before, I really enjoyed Scorn, so that's probably going to affect how seriously people take my opinion. But I love games when they're taking chances, and this game is definitely a risk. And I'm happy that Capcom did it. I'm happy that they got it on Game Pass so as many people can play it as possible. And because I don't know how well this would have sold, I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Did you guys get the Okami skin?
No.
So I own Okami. I assumed it was because I owned Okami. Yeah, so I own Okami on the Xbox platform. So I played the whole game dressed up like the Okami wolf, and I had like a electric sword.
That's awesome.
So like I forgot to even mention that, but there's like it's very reminiscent of Okami, where Okami is another game where you're going around like kind of getting rid of the tainted land or whatever. I can't remember what you do in Okami either, but I really liked it. I'll give it 6 possessed villagers out of 8.
6 possessed villagers.
I
like that.
I like that. I was did you have the talisman that gave you the electric sword, or was it just like a visual? Because there was one that said something about making your dance moves
more sparkling. I thought it was just visual.
It was a sword, like a different one. So like before I went into the game, like I could choose what my outfit and my sword was, and I assume that if you play New Game Plus and do all kinds of stuff, you'll unlock more things like that.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I thought I saw the talisman said something about giving it a shocking effect, so I assumed it gave you like an electrified attack or whatever. But anywho, I kind of like Andrew. I mean, I had really only gone off of watching the trailer. I felt like it did a decent job of kind of at least setting up some sort of like boss battle strategy type of thing. I don't know. It showed a group of characters fighting a big boss or whatever, and I feel like there was enough of a vibe there that was at least a little of what I was expecting. But all that to say is it ended up being more than just a really cool visual effect. I thought the overall play style, it was fun, it was engaging. I think that, you know, both of what you guys mentioned, it kind of being not easy, but relaxing or not, I don't know, just demanding enough that you're like, this is just irritating the crap out of me while I'm trying to beat these bosses. I could just pretty casually go through it, and nothing really set me back too far. So yeah, I just really appreciated everything they did. Unlike Andrew, I didn't have as much issue with the strategy aspect. I wanted more from the world building. I thought that would have been a little bit more of a fun aspect to it, but it was a nice kind of balance to the overall gameplay to give you those different things, even if it didn't do great on either aspect.
All right. But yeah, I think that'll do it for us this episode. Nave, thank you so much for joining us. Tell everyone about your podcast real quick.
I am one half of Gaming Together, a cooperative podcast. We talk about multiplayer games, sometimes single player games, just whatever we feel like talking about. We also like to have as many guests on as we possibly can for just a chill spot. It's more of kind of a goofy hangout than a general game review, which is our main critique of our show. Is we'll have like 30 minutes of game review and 2 hours of just fucking around. But I like it that way.
But you guys love to help gamers, though. I mean, your main bread and butter is your Am I the Asshole segment. So, Nave.
Oh, yeah.
Do you have an Am I the Asshole with you?
Yeah, that's what I was doing right there at the end. Let me see if I can get the... Is there a chat? Yeah, there's a chat right there. Wait, how does this work? No, I see it. Boom. Look at that.
Heck yeah.
This was a little long, so there's multiple edits, so we can take turns reading. So I'll read the beginning, and then Andrew can get the first edit, and then Keith can get the next 2 edits. That probably seems
jeez.
Right.
I just like that there's that many edits already.
I know.
It is an odyssey. All right. So this is The title is Am I the Asshole for Wanting to Play Call of Duty on Christmas instead of spending time with my wife and kids? In the spirit of Call of Duty, your last episode and our future episode. My birthday is on Christmas Day. Well, happy birthday. I have always spent my birthday celebrating Christmas and never doing anything I want. My son is 3 and my daughter is 6 months old. I spend a lot of time with them and my wife, and barely see my friends anymore. This Christmas, I just want to play COD with the boys. They're all going to be on Christmas, my birthday, and I don't want to miss out. They are never online at the same time. My wife is incredibly angry with me and wants to throw my Xbox out the window. I'm angry because I just want to play COD with the boys on my birthday. Am I the asshole?
This is all right. This is funny. All right, so this is 4 years old. Another Call of Duty episode. I had my brother on there. Growing up, my brother always played Call of Duty, and he always called Christmas Day Noob Fest because all the little kids who didn't have Call of Duty would get it. And this was before skill-based matchmaking, so you would get all the noobs in the lobby. And my brother would just have a field day destroying everyone. But this was 4 years ago, so I think there's still the skill-based matchmaking then.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's got to be some. I mean, just get on a new account. Get on a new account if you have it physically or digitally. It works that way too.
Just smurf
Just
it.
murder everybody.
But with this segment, am I the asshole? I don't know if I'd say he is. So
Well, we need the edits, Andrew.
Right?
Or do we?
Yeah, the needle is not moved too far. Like, you're a little bit of an asshole, but also I understand. You never get to spend Christmas with the boys. It's your birthday. That's weird. You know? Like, yeah,
See, I'm in my mid-30s now. And my wife, you know, when we first were dating, it was always like, it's your birthday. We're going to go out to dinner and do some sort of activity. But now that I'm, mid-30s and I have kids, my wife's like, what do you want to do for your birthday? I was like, honestly, if I could just play video games all day and not be harassed, that's great. So that's generally been my now birthday present of just, I can play video games all day and not be harassed. And she'll like deliver me like pizza bites and stuff like that. It's great. So I understand, but I don't know if I'd fully get this guy an asshole. But the first edit here, he says, okay, I'm getting flamed here. And I feel like
defense position.
I feel like TA
the
asshole. But I still don't think it's crazy. It's a crazy ask. I've never really celebrated my birthday. I was lucky if anyone other than my brother said the words happy birthday to me. My mom was super religious and made us spend every Christmas at church from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. The only acknowledgement I ever got from my family was a cake after dinner and a pack of socks once. I left home the day after my high school graduation, and that's when I met my boys that I mentioned in my post. We've been everywhere together, have literally saved each other's lives, and they are my brothers. They've always made me feel like my birthday was actually my birthday and not just Christmas. My wife has done this too, but not to the extent that the boys have. Anyways, we haven't gotten together since before my son was born. We all live in different states and never see each other anymore.
Okay. So this, well, this I could be. Maybe I'm reading into this, but having my older brother having been in the army for 20 years and all of that, I feel like this guy joined the army the second he got it. That's what he's saying. He left home, he joined the army, and he got the heck out of his house because he hated living there. That's not why my brother left. That's different. But in this case, that's how I'm reading into what this guy did, and that's the picture I'm painting of him because he left.
It's like, where else would you be saving each other's lives multiple times?
In the field of Call of Duty.
Besides maybe Florida Bayou against the alligators. You've been talking about them gators.
It's either that or he moved out of his house, bought a Call of Duty, and met his boys online. He's like, we've saved each other's lives.
Brothers in arms.
You've collected my tags when I went down. You didn't let those suckers confirm my kill. But yeah, like, so I don't know. If that's kind of part of it, I guess it's kind of like a weird, like, he probably doesn't see these guys anymore. He probably spent, a good chunk of his life with them. They all move away, and that's kind of cool. And well, my birthday, not Christmas Day. I am a December baby, and I never felt like my birthday got too overshadowed by Christmas, or really ever has. But I can only imagine what it's like having a birthday on Christmas. So I don't know. Maybe he wants to just celebrate it this one time. I get it, but I'm also someone that I don't really give a crap about my own birthday. So I'm pretty much only as excited as everybody else is for my birthday.
I think I'm kind of like that too. I'm a September baby, so I'm like, there's nothing around. There's Veterans Day, I think. I don't know.
September 11th.
Yeah, 9/11. Just 2 days before my birthday. or after. I don't know. I don't know how to count. But
One of our friends from high school actually his birthday on September 11th. Very unfortunate for him.
he remembers where he was.
But
Yeah, but we all remember his birthday.
I feel the guy a little bit. I was born on Thanksgiving, so obviously my birthday's not always on Thanksgiving. But like growing up, my family was pretty poor, and we would end up like visiting family, and it was just kind of something I always felt like was just kind of brushed aside if I had my birthday on Thanksgiving. So I understand where he's coming from. Granted, having your birthday on Christmas, I think is probably the worst day. I feel like
the proximity to Christmas and your birthday is like that affects how you grow up. I think.
Yeah. Now, and I think too. I don't know. I feel like at 6 months old and 3 years old too. Like, I don't know. It's not like they need a whole lot that you can't just spend one day getting to play. So maybe I'm with them a little bit more.
See,
but also Christmas Day, you just need the morning. It's like the night before and the morning of are like the times you celebrate. And then the rest of the day, it's the kids just playing with their toys,
well,
right?
It depends. Sure. I always hate. So my family tried to make a tradition of like, it's Christmas Day. Let's try to get together with family. I hate traveling. I hate doing anything Christmas Day. Eventually my family completely changed and we're like, Christmas Day is meant to be the laziest day. You stay in your pajamas all day. We just eat finger foods of like a shrimp cocktail. We eat like chicken wings and just like graze all day and just never get out of our pajamas. Way better way to celebrate Christmas.
I spent last Christmas with my little sister and my mom. I went and visited them, and they staged a entire Nerf war.
That's
like
awesome.
A Nerf gun war. And so they all of us, they're like, no one touch your stockings. And then at the very bottom of the stocking was a Nerf like pistol, and everyone was like, what is this? And then my sister's boyfriend came out with like a minigun and just started shooting us. And I was like, this is bullshit. Like, if I would have known, I would have brought like a pillow or something into the living room, like some kind of shield.
No, that is
because
awesome,
I'm the biggest target. I'm the easiest one to hit in here. There's a bunch of children around. I'm pushing them out of the way, trying to get the safety.
Body shields.
Yeah. Well, we got the last edit there, or the last two.
Yeah, there's 2 edits.
All right, yeah. All right, so let's see. Edit 2. Oh, I have the wrong tab up here. Okay, I was not planning on playing all day. I planned on opening presents for the family, then hopping on with the boys around noon. I get what everyone is saying, but I still don't think it's a big ask. Family time is incredibly important, but I happen to think that COD with the boys is too. This guy
He's retreating.
Freaking loves the boys.
I know.
It is getting uncomfortable. Edit 3.
He doesn't love the boys.
The question is, how often does he actually play with the boys?
He said hardly ever, I think, in the beginning. Not all of them at once was the thing.
Oh.
I mean, that
everyone was around.
I can relate to that a little bit because before kids was pretty much consistently. It was like I got home from work 6-7 o'clock and I was on generally longer than all the boys. I'd be on and ready, and then I'd be on well after tanking my Overwatch score. So I can definitely relate to it, but I still get enough chances, and maybe I'm just a little different, but I get enough chances still to hang out and play that I'm not like, oh, this is miserable. But then let's see, edit 3. Thanks to the input, everyone. To clarify a few things really further, will not be helping with dinner.
Hell yeah.
I never do, and it's for the best. My wife and I agree.
I love it's for the best. My wife and I agree.
Dude, I am only a hindrance in the kitchen. I'm gonna be honest.
As someone who
I'm gonna put a block of cheese inside of the pan. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know how to cook.
As someone who does 95% of the cooking in my household, I'm okay with being the main chef. So I spend a lot of time with my family. I've always wanted to give them the dad I never had. My dad is still quote unquote around, but was a drunk and has a new family now. I'm very close with my son, and hopefully I'm just as close with my daughter once she's a little older. My wife is convinced that the boys don't like her.
Whoa.
We've been together a total of 10.5 years, and she's always said that they felt like she stole me away from them. This is not true, and they have never indicated this. When I do get to play, I don't shirk my responsibilities. I always do what I have to do, but mostly just play on rare occasion that I get the house to myself. What I'm asking for is uninterrupted time with the boys. I haven't even thought of asking for this before. It doesn't seem to matter how long to my wife. She just doesn't want me online at all. I think it sounds like she has every right to be jealous of the boys. I'm just going to preface that. Now,
the boys have every right to be jealous of her.
I think maybe both. But I will harken back to our time on gaming together with you and throwing out Xboxes and PlayStations. If she's threatening to throw the Xbox, then that sets a whole new bar for me. Because again, we treat adults like adults. We don't need to treat them like children. And don't just throw out your kids' stuff too. That's especially when it comes to gaming consoles, that's a ridiculous thing. But anywho, I don't know. I think that his love of the boys is getting a little weird. On first read through, fine. It was tame, but he just really, really loves these boys, and that's fine. You love who you want to love. I ran here for I am. You go ahead and do that. I'm not going to judge you, but do you really love your wife, or do you like having kids and you love your boys? Because that's fine.
I think I don't know. It's like for Christmas, I just want to play video games, please. Like I don't.
The hard.
It seems like he really doesn't get a lot of time to play games at all. Like just from what's because he said he only ever plays games whenever everyone's gone. It said it somewhere. There's so many words here, but I don't know where it was.
See, yeah. So by the end of this, I don't think this guy's an asshole. Like it just. Because I agree. So his kids are, what was he said, 4 and 6 months? No, 3 and 6 months. So they're getting new presents. I will say, so I have a 4-year-old. Even when she gets new presents, she wants to play with people. She wants to play Dollhouse. She wants to play the board games with people. Like she always wants to play with people. So I get that. But the fact that he's going on noon to later in the evening with his boys, I don't think it's that big of a deal. You're still opening presents with your family. You're still hanging out with them. It sounds like he's still having dinner with them.
Yeah, they're probably going to wake up like early, right? Like 7 or 8. Yeah. That's usually when people do their Christmas stuff.
And it's just like I said, for me and my family, it's usually that's a lazy day. You don't get out of your pajamas, maybe take some naps. You just relax, enjoy your new presents, spend some time with people. But I do a lot of gaming on Christmas.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I don't have kids, so I do nothing but gaming on Christmas.
And to be clear, I'm not saying he's the asshole. I just think it's a little weird how much he references the boys.
Dude, they saved his life multiple times.
See, I think it's funny, Keith. Our text group, I have it labeled as the boys, and my wife always says that she's going to go play with the boys. I'm like, you don't understand. They saved my life.
Same thing. I mean, don't get me wrong. Every now and then I'll be on my phone and say, how are the boys? Yeah. How are the boys? They're fine.
They're good.
Tommy's in the soy sauce again.
Amen. It's like that's a unanimous. That's just the man experience is having the boys. Oh, yeah. Like everyone understands the boys.
It is, and that's where I can definitely relate a little bit because in the same context that Andrew and I are talking about, the boys are. I'm in New Hampshire, and every single one of the other people in that text group is in another state that is 6+ hours away from me. Yeah. So it's like I can definitely relate to the different times, different states. Everyone's got it, and especially if this guy's got 2 kids, his friends, at least some of them, if not all of them, whatever some population, they have kids, so everyone's got a weird schedule, and if they're getting a carved out couple hours for the boys, man, he's sitting there being like, I'm left out, and he is going to become the living embodiment of the SpongeBob Squidward meme.
Yeah, like staring out the window,
getting the notifications on his phone as everyone's signing on. Like,
dude, legitimately, that's why I recorded about Diablo 4 this week, because everyone I was talking to is playing Diablo 4, and I was like, that looks like fun. You guys playing Diablo over there? You guys, can I play? Can I play Diablo? I want to play. Everyone's having fun.
Man, should hit us up. There is down for Diablo. But yeah.
Especially with the new season.
Yeah. But anyway, So thank you, Nave, for sharing. If you want to get more of these Am I the Asshole segments, make sure you check out Gaming Together podcast. If you want to hear the episode with me and Keith, episode 161 with Exoprimal. R.I.P. Exoprimal.
R.I.P. As soon as we put that episode out, the same day the episode came out, they were like, no more updates. Yeah.
And I was like, not going to update anymore.
Thanks.
You can still play it.
What did we do?
You can still play it. Man. It's just not getting more updates. It's like sad. But
right on. And then maybe Keith will be on. Too. And maybe Keith will be on our Call of Duty episode. Yeah. We got to talk around.
But anyway,
communicate.
I've been your hardcore gamer host, Andrew. You can find me on Xbox Live at Firebird0952. If you have any game suggestions, make sure you go to GamePassGrabBag.com. You'll find the links to all our stuff. Write us an email. Go to our Facebook, Twitter, whatever. We always love game recommendations. Or go to our Spotify, because now I can actually respond to comments. So make some comments on our Spotify. Give us a review. Give Gaming Together a check out. Give them a review. But yeah. Keith, give you a wonderful outro.
I have been here as always. I will be here next week, and we'll be playing another game.
Maybe. All right, everyone. Thank you all so much for joining us. We'll see you again next week. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Peace.